Falling in love is chaotic in the funniest way because it doesn't ask for permission, give warnings, or even knock politely. It just shows up one random Tuesday, barges into your chest like it forgot how doors work, and suddenly your whole existence is rearranging itself around a person who probably still doesn't know how you take your coffee. And the wild part? You let it happen. You let your brain decide without consulting you that this person is now the emotional equivalent of oxygen. What makes it almost comical is how quickly love turns you into a walking movie scene. Suddenly, every mundane moment feels like it carries meaning. The way they say your name, cinematic. The shared silence, intimate. Even your daily commute somehow feels different, like the world has put a soft Instagram filter over everything. You become the main character of a story you didn't even know was being written until your heart did the absolutely unnecessary thing of catching feelings. The science behind that dramatic shift is mostly dopamine acting like it owns the place. Dopamine is that chaotic friend who hypes you up way too much, whispering, "This is it. This is the person," even though you met them 2 weeks ago and saw them pick food out of their teeth. Anything they do suddenly gets exaggerated emotional importance because your dopamine levels are skyrocketing like they're trying to break a record. It's biology, but it feels like destiny. Meanwhile, your attachment system is doing something far more sneaky and much more meaningful. It's quietly observing how this person makes you feel, what it's like to talk to them, how safe or exciting their presence is. And without asking your conscious brain for approval, it slowly starts building emotional pathways that lead back to them. Pathways that will eventually become habits, rituals, and routines. Attachment is basically the brain's interior designer, rearranging the furniture of your emotional life while you're distracted with butterflies. That's why falling in love feels so weirdly natural, so effortless, so meant to be. Your emotional system settles into it like you've known this person in another life, even though rational you knows that the only reason you know anything about them is because you asked 16 questions in a row like a curious toddler. Love doesn't care about logic, it cares about patterns, safety, and possibility. But because the brain builds all these patterns so quickly, losing love hits like an unexpected free trial ending. One day you're overflowing with connection, and the next day you're staring at your ceiling trying to understand why your chest feels like someone scooped out the middle of it. It isn't just sadness, it's an emotional quiet that feels too loud, too empty, too unnatural. This emptiness is what happens when dopamine crashes back down to baseline. The emotional fireworks stop, the spark fades into something dull, and reality hits with a thud. Everything looks the same, sounds the same, and technically is the same, yet somehow feels flatter. It's like your brain is detoxing from the emotional high it once lived on. And detox is never glamorous. Then comes the attachment glitching. Your brain tries to run the old routines, expecting their message at a certain time, anticipating how your day would align with theirs, feeling that little emotional lean toward them, but the script no longer works. It's like a reflex you can't shut off yet. And every time the pattern fails, it sends a tiny jolt of loss through you. Humans are creatures of habit, which is why losing a connection feels like losing part of your identity. When someone becomes part of your everyday life, even in small, subtle ways, removing them leaves an awkward emotional gap. It feels like walking around a house where the furniture has been moved slightly to the left. Nothing is technically wrong, but everything feels off. What makes the void even heavier is that you're often grieving more than just the person. You're grieving the version of yourself that existed with them, the one that felt wanted, seen, understood in ways that felt rare. You miss the softness you allowed yourself to have, the hopefulness they brought out of you, the little future your imagination secretly started building around them. And the brain handles this grief so dramatically, it's almost funny. You can know all the logical reasons why things didn't work. You can list them out, analyze them like a calm, rational adult. But your emotions? They do not care. Your emotions are sitting in the corner eating ice cream loudly, ignoring all facts, and insisting that missing someone is the only acceptable hobby right now. But the emptiness, as overwhelming as it feels, has a very predictable life cycle. Slowly, painfully slowly, it begins to fade. Your brain starts rewiring, forming new routines, closing old emotional tabs, and creating new ones without telling you. Healing doesn't announce itself. It just sneaks up on you in quiet ways you barely notice at first. One day, you wake up and realize you didn't think of them immediately. Another day, you eat something good and actually enjoy it. You laugh without forcing it. You get through a whole hour, then a whole day without the ache taking center stage. These small wins are your nervous system rebuilding itself piece by piece, like emotional scaffolding. Healing isn't dramatic. It's not some big cinematic breakthrough. It's more like your brain quietly deciding, you know what? We're okay now, and slowly turning the emotional lights back on. It's gentle, frustratingly slow, but reliable. The emptiness shrinks not because you forget, but because the emotional space gets repurposed for things that make sense for your future. Reflection makes the whole cycle make sense. Love feels deep because you allow yourself to be vulnerable, to be hopeful, to be emotionally brave. You show someone the parts of yourself you usually guard. And losing that witness feels like losing proof that those soft parts exist, even though they were always yours to begin with. But emptiness isn't a punishment. It's an emotional reset, a pause, a space for growth. It's your brain clearing the room so you can build something new, something stronger, more grounded, and maybe even healthier than before. Painful, yes, but also incredibly human. Eventually, you look back and realize none of the depth was wasted. You learned things. You discovered parts of yourself. You expanded your emotional capacity. You gained clarity about what you want and what you absolutely never want again. Love leaves lessons even after it leaves your life. And the best part? When love comes again, in whatever form it returns, it meets a wiser version of you. A you who knows your own patterns, your own heart, your own boundaries. A you who understands that love is powerful, but so is resilience. And that combination makes you unstoppable. In the end, love feels deep because it opens you. And it feels empty after because it closes in ways you weren't prepared for. But we're built to survive it. We're built to heal. We're built to love again, not because we forget the pain, but because our hearts are wired to keep trying. And honestly, there's something weirdly beautiful about that. The human heart is dramatic, messy, chaotic, but incredibly brave. It breaks, it aches, it empties itself out, and still finds reasons to fill again. Every time, without fail. That's our superpower, even if it doesn't feel like one when we're hurting.